became inseparable.
And when you're ready to ride or die, you have to be ready to go wherever the journey takes you.
She had two different lives she was living.
Who are you with?
I don't even want to say no name.
She was clearly a ride or die for him. She wanted to protect him at all costs.
Because sometimes the dying is real.
He is deceased in the passenger side of his friend's vehicle.
And sometimes what you find at the end of the journey isn't a life together, but a life sentence.
She was like, basically, if I did know, I wouldn't tell you.
She had this level of loyalty for him that she did what she had to do to help her man.
June 30th, 2012. It's a humid weekend in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Baton Rouge, as I knew it growing up, was a very lovely place, full of culture, very family-oriented.
But in the years since Hurricane Katrina, the city has changed.
After Katrina, when we had a lot of people moving from New Orleans and other areas into Baton Rouge, you had the rivals and you had the turf wars and that kind of thing, so the city started getting more violent.
Like most cities, you have the fear of walking alone or driving at night now because of the crime.
At 2 a.m. on this balmy Saturday morning, fear becomes reality.
911 is flooded with calls to the Baton Rouge Police Department.
We received a call that there had been a shooting.
When police arrive at the scene, they find a car sitting at a stoplight.
There was shattered glass all over the concrete and people were screaming.
They discovered that there were two victims that were injured.
The driver of the car, Andre Miles, has a bullet wound in his foot.
They were sitting at the traffic light and his foot was on the brake, and one of those shots that was fired into the vehicle actually hit him in the foot.
Andre tells the police that the shots were fired through the window at the passenger in the car, Jordan Key.
He's worried about his friend Jordan, who's also been shot. Officers take Jordan's vitals and they find that Jordan is deceased.
Our focus is now, who is this individual? We have to find out who is he so that we can start putting the pieces together.
Growing up, Jordan Key had always been the boy that everyone liked.
Jordan was a very loving child. He came from a family that was full of love, a joyous family.
He was such a hilarious kid. He loved to play jokes.
Jordan was very, very talented in more than one way. He can draw. He was also an amazing dancer.
When his family moved from California to Louisiana, the talented jokester quickly made new friends.
Jordan and Andre met in high school, and they became friends instantly.
They hung out a lot and they were really like brothers more so than best friends.
Around that same time, Jordan also found his true ambition.
In high school, Jordan and Andre were both connected to the local hip-hop scene in Baton Rouge, and they were very well known.
I always wanted him to sing in the church choir because he had the talent, he had the gift, and he had the voice. But being a young man, he chose to do rap.
After high school, Jordan joined a local rap group and he started recording as often as he could.
Jordan also wanted to further his education.
We were making plans of him entering into a community college.
With Jordan planning to go to college as well as his music career, he really had a bright future ahead of him.
But now, Jordan's promising future will never come to fruition.
Jordan Key, the deceased, had suffered a fatal gunshot wound to the head area.
When the devastating news reaches Jordan's family, they're heartbroken.
The morning I found out that Jordan had been murdered, I wasn't feeling really well on that day. And my dad called me and he said, well, there's been an incident. Jordan and Andre were shot last night and Jordan didn't make it. I felt as if the world had just completely stopped.
My daughter Gina called, and they always expect me to be the more calm one. But it wasn't a pleasant moment. There was a lot of crying.
Meanwhile, homicide detectives arrive on the scene and make contact with their surviving victim, Andre Miles.
Andre explains that after going to a party, he and Jordan were on their way home when they stopped at an intersection.
The two victims were sitting in the vehicle at a red light, just listening to music and talking, and all of a sudden, shots ring out. He felt this pain in his foot, and Jordan is not responding to him. And it was at that time he looked to his right and realized that Jordan was injured.
He says that he didn't get a good look at the gunman because the gunman came up from behind them on the passenger side of the car.
It isn't too much to go on. But as EMTs prepare to transport Andre to the hospital, the police find another witness.
James Logan was a security guard who was just getting off of his shift, and he says that he was at the light and saw everything.
James happened to notice a black male get out of the passenger side of the vehicle that was behind him.
James described the gunman as a black male wearing a white t-shirt and dark shorts.
While he's watching the guy walks over to the car and he pulls out a gun and fires 3 shots into the car.
As a security guard, James was armed. He told police that he got out of the car, drew his weapon, and told the man to drop the gun.
His bravery, there's not enough words to describe it. He didn't even think about it. Honestly, he thought like a first.
James says that the gunman jumped into a black sedan as it sped away.
He says the driver was also a black male.
As the vehicle sped away, James got the license plate number.
Investigators put out an all-points bulletin with the license plate number that James Logan provided.
The bulletin immediately pays off.
Right away, they get a hit. A patrol officer spots the car.
That officer immediately puts on his lights.
This officer is in full-on pursuit of the alleged murder suspects.
On June 30th, 2012, Baton Rouge police are in hot pursuit of the suspects responsible for the fatal shooting of 18-year-old Jordan Key.
The suspects attempted to flee the area, but the area that they tried to flee ended up being a dead end. They bailed from the vehicle and they fled on foot.
The officer chases them through the woods, but they manage to escape.
After detectives receive word of what's transpired, they swiftly arrive at the location.
Now police have a second crime scene to analyze, and that's the getaway car.
Inside the car, investigators find what they believe is the murder weapon.
There was a handgun on the back floorboard.
The gun appears to be jammed. This might explain why the suspects never fired any more shots at the witness or police who were chasing them.
Police hope that the vehicle's license plate is the key to tracking down the suspects.
We're running license plates and VIN numbers to find out who is this vehicle registered to.
The car is registered to a woman named Sienna Washington.
We knew that it was a female. We also knew from our witness that the individuals that were in the vehicle were definitely all males.
Was the car stolen? Or is there a connection between the suspects and the woman registered as the owner?
Investigators head to the address found on Sienna's vehicle registration, hoping to find the two perps there.
When detectives arrive at the address, they're met by a man who identifies himself as Sienna's boyfriend, Frederick Gaines.
Frederick told the detectives that Sienna was not at home. She was at work.
Something immediately stands out to detectives about Frederick.
Frederick is a match for one of the suspects seen fleeing from the vehicle.
We start inquiring about his girlfriend's vehicle. He informs us that she had been robbed.
He said the car was stolen in a recent carjacking.
Detectives are highly suspicious of Frederick. They ask him to come back to the station for a formal interview. Detectives begin by asking Frederick for more details about the carjacking.
The day before, somebody stopped her and demanded money. So she got out and they drove off.
Frederick insists he doesn't know anything about Jordan Key's murder.
You have anything to do with it? You were nowhere around College Drive tonight, right?
He denied any involvement. He denied just everything.
Frederick isn't willing to budge. And even though they believe he's one of the assailants, they don't have enough evidence on him to make an arrest.
Detectives soon get a call that sends the case spiraling in a new direction.
He said he knew the individual that did the shooting.
He said you need to talk to Chatley Chesterfield and his girlfriend, Essence Dyson.
I don't hope this happened to any family, but it does every day in Baton Rouge, and I know it's happening in other places. And every time I see this, it does something to me because they're so young. The kids that's dying young and the ones that's doing it is young. There's no more old-fashioned fist fights, you know, high-five me, we're good, bye. It's the gun thing. And it's really sad that we've come to this.
In 2012, detectives in Baton Rouge are investigating the murder of 18-year-old Jordan Key, who was gunned down at point-blank range while stopped at a red light.
Police believe that a man named Frederick Gaines may be one of the assailants, but they need to gather more evidence before they can say for sure.
That afternoon, detectives receive a mysterious phone call that points them in a new direction.
According to the informant, the people responsible are local rapper Chatley Chesterfield, who goes by the name Chad the Youngin, and his girlfriend, 19-year-old Essence Dyson. The informant says that's all that he can tell them at this time and hangs up.
With just the names to go on, investigators start by checking their database.
When they do a background check on Chatley, they realize that he has been arrested before and has a few priors.
The arrests weren't for anything serious. In fact, they were classified as juvenile because he was only 17.
19-year-old Essence Dyson has also had some run-ins with the law.
She did have a criminal record. It was kind of minor. There was a simple robbery, a simple battery on her record. We wouldn't describe her as a hardened criminal.
Essence had a real good family. They gave her a lot of support.
She was adored by her mother and father. She was a college student at LSU, a math major, a very, very smart girl with a bright future ahead of her.
But Essence was no ordinary college student.
During the day, she was a student, and then during the night, she was, you know, she had two different lives she was living.
Essence Dyson loved the hip-hop lifestyle, the thriving music scene in Baton Rouge.
She was very, very closely affiliated with a lot of these little rap groups that were feuding with each other.
And that's how she met Chatley Chad the Youngin Chesterfield.
He had aspirations to be a rapper, and he was good at it.
At 17, he was already on his way.
Chad was a part of the Kane Music Mafia, a local rap group in Baton Rouge.
Essence met Chad at a party for prominent Baton Rouge rapper Mr. Kane.
And they had the same friends, and they hung around each other. And Essence would go to Chad's concerts, and her friends and his friends, they all would hang out.
They began dating. They became inseparable. The two were always together.
Was the murder of Jordan Key another incident in the violent feuds of the Baton Rouge music scene?
Jordan was an aspiring rapper.
Baton Rouge police were already investigating multiple incidences between the city's rappers.
There were multiple task force trying to get a hold of all this, and so these different groups were being identified, members of the groups. We just noticed that so many of them had a common name that was affiliated with them, and that name was Essence Dyson.
If Jordan was having a beef with Chatley Chesterfield, it would give him a reason for Chad's girlfriend, Essence, to be involved.
Investigators wanted to question both of them.
He knows them.
Andre says that he's known both Essence and Chatley for years.
He actually went to school with Essence, and he knows Chatley from the neighborhood.
In fact, Andre now recalls that he saw Essence not long before the shooting.
Andre had been working as security at a party, and he was waiting for the person who was supposed to pay him to...
People would hang out after the clubs had closed. So Andre and Jordan were waiting there for the guy that was supposed to pay Andre.
Around 2 a.m., Andre and Jordan went into the store for a few minutes.
They went in and, used the restroom, but when they came out, they actually saw Essence.
Essence was standing there. And of course, they stopped and had a conversation with her because they knew her.
Andre says they talked outside the store for a couple of minutes.
They stopped and they talked, just, friendly. What are y'all getting into? What are you doing after this?
They asked her if she needed a ride. Her reaction felt strange, like something was off with her.
After retrieving Andre's payment, the friends parted ways.
Andre said that they told Essence goodbye and left the parking lot. Minutes later, the shooting occurred.
To detectives, the timing certainly seems suspicious.
Their number one priority is now tracking down Chatley Chesterfield and Essence Dyson.
Later that day, detectives received word that although Chatley is nowhere to be found, police have located Essence.
We transported her to our office.
Will she be the key to finally unraveling this case?
She just had this very negative demeanor.
She was clearly a ride or die for Chatley. She wanted to protect him at all costs.
18th, 2012. Baton Rouge detectives are sitting down with 19-year-old college student Essence Dyson regarding her possible involvement in the shooting death of Jordan Key.
A phone tip had pointed police toward Essence and her boyfriend, Chatley Chad Chesterfield. And Andre Miles, who was with Jordan when he was killed, told the investigators that he talked to Essence in the parking lot only a few minutes before the murder.
Getting any useful information out of Essence will be easier said than done.
She just had this very negative demeanor. Basically, if I did know, I wouldn't tell you.
Oh, okay. Who are you with? I don't want to say their name because I don't know if they want to get involved with the police. So I don't even want to say no name.
Detectives continue to press Essence, and she finally starts to open up.
She admits that she knows Jordan Key and Andre Miles, and that she saw them that night at the store.
There was nothing nefarious about it. It was just a chance meeting.
Essence says it was soon after they left that she caught up with Jordan and Andre at a stoplight.
I was right behind their car, but I didn't see nobody walk up to the car because we was at the red light and I was on my phone. You know, you ain't supposed to. And I just heard gunshots. I look up.
What's the description of the guy that you saw?
He was like a little taller than me.
What color shirt were you wearing?
White.
And one thing she's sure of is that it wasn't Chatley.
And you're familiar with what the shooter would look like if it was somebody that you knew?
Yes.
There wasn't nobody that you knew?
It wasn't.
Essence said that she never saw her boyfriend, Chatley Chesterfield, that night. As far as she knew, he was at home the whole time.
Detectives ask Essence where Chatley is now. And that's when she completely clams up.
And we kept pressing and pressing and pressing, trying to get information. Then finally, she was just like, I don't have anything else to say without a lawyer present.
You're digging yourself into a hole that you're not going to be able to get yourself out of. So that's your statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I think you're making a terrible mistake. I think you're gonna regret this.
Can I just go home?
Until they can strengthen their theory that she and Chatley are behind this crime, they must let her go.
Now that they have a statement from Essence, tracking down Chatley becomes the focus of the investigation.
We have officers out and everyone's telling us that he's not there.
It was an elaborate plot by all of Chad's supporters to hide him. They even named it Run Chad Run.
It was just everywhere on social media. To think of the amount of people that actually participated in the Run Chad Run movement was disgusting.
The search for Chad eventually expands outside Baton Rouge.
The Baton Rouge Police Department enlisted the help of different law enforcement agencies.
We had the U.S. Marshals involved, state police involved.
It takes over 3 months, but the effort finally pays off.
They find him hiding out in Baker, Louisiana, which is just about 10 miles outside of Baton Rouge.
When they question Chatley, the investigators get straight to the point.
Were you involved in that shooting? No, man. Do you know anything about the shooting?
He denied being present. He denied everything.
Who put you up to
not do it?
Okay, who did it?
I don't know.
So what you running for?
Cause if I turn myself in, then I ain't trying to go to. I ain't trying to go to.
He started off saying that he didn't know anything about the shooting, wasn't at the intersection. Then he changed it to say he had a friend there who looked like him, and maybe that's why they thought it was him.
The detectives keep pushing, and Chad's story changes again.
Tell me what happened.
I was in the car with Essence. I don't know if y'all know or not. I was in the car with her. I just seen somebody walk up and start shooting. I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't trying to see who it was because I was ducking.
Chatley claims that after they heard the gunshots, he and Essence took off.
Chatley said they never contacted the police because they did not want to get involved.
So that's a statement that you want to give?
I did that statement.
Chatley's version of events is entirely different from what Essence Dyson has told investigators.
Essence never mentioned him being with her that night, but Chad won't budge on his story.
In fact, Chatley downplays his relationship with Essence.
You and her tight then?
Who, me and Essence? I've been knowing her, but we ain't close like that. Like,
y'all not or y'all weren't?
We just talk to each other because we've been knowing each other.
Getting nowhere with Chatley Chesterfield, detectives decide to circle back to Frederick Gaines, who they still believe was the likely getaway driver in the crime.
Perhaps now that they have Essence and Chatley in their crosshairs, they could use that to get Frederick to flip.
And detectives are in luck.
He feels the walls are closing in on him, and he's ready to tell it all.
Frederick was just following orders.
He jumped up to the balcony. He said, I was so scared.
In July of 2012, Baton Rouge police believe Chatley Chesterfield and Essence Dyson are behind the murder of 18-year-old Jordan Key. But with both suspects giving very different accounts of what happened that night, they're hoping the possible getaway driver, Frederick Gaines, can help them clear things up.
They want to speak to him again to see if he will flip on the other two.
If you willing to take the charge for pulling that trigger, that's on you. I know you didn't do it, but that's fine. That's totally up to you. It's totally up to you. Well, now's your time to help yourself. You've been there already. You see what I'm saying?
The threat of ending up back behind bars causes Frederick to cave.
He kind of felt like, okay, well, they got me now. He decided, Dad, I'm gonna come clean and make this right and just take responsibility for my actions.
You're gonna break it down right now? With this total breakup.
Frederick admits that he was driving the getaway car that night, but claims he had no idea what was going to happen after he agreed to give his pal, Chatley Chesterfield, a ride home from the club.
He wasn't aware of what he was about to get himself into.
Frederick says that Chatley was constantly on the phone during the car ride.
Chad was talking on the phone, and he had the phone on speaker.
He was talking to Essence Dyson.
That's one of the chicks with Chad was, I guess, messing with at the time. So you recognize Essence's voice. Yeah, I recognize her voice.
And Frederick could also hear what they were talking about.
He said that Essence had been following Jordan Key that night for Chatley while he was doing his show at the club.
Essence told Chad that she'd spotted Jordan and his friend Andre outside a local convenience store.
Talking to Chad about telling him, you know what, they right here, right now. Chad was like, well, keep an eye on him. Stay close to him until we get there. Because we already in the car on the way, so now when I hear this, though, I'm like, I'm asking them, like, well, what did they do? What's going on? Well, we got into it with him a few months back or something. We just catching up to him.
According to Frederick, Essence kept Chad continuously informed of Jordan's whereabouts.
I see them, they're over here, kind of giving a play-by-play.
When Jordan and Andre left, Essence followed them in her view. She continued to keep Chatley updated on where they were going.
Frederick and Chatley caught up with Jordan at a red light.
They pulled up to the light and he saw Essence clear as day in the car right behind Jordan Key.
He's like, well, that's the dudes right there in that first car. And that's Essence or whoever else in the car behind him was following him. And I'm like, so what you about to do? And he's like, we about to see you. Before I know it, he just jumped out my car.
Chatley went over to Jordan's side and opened fire.
As Frederick sat frozen in shock, Chatley ran back to the car and jumped in the passenger seat.
And once he got in, he was like, man, go. He was like, man, you better get us away, man. You can't get caught out here like this. I just made sure I got away.
But the two men didn't make it far.
He tried to outrun the police, but ended up taking a turn onto a dead-end road. So they abandoned the car and fled on foot.
After they bailed out of the car, he and Chatley split up. He made his way back to his girlfriend's house to lay low.
Frederick claims he was afraid to tell the police what happened in his initial interview.
I just seen you kill somebody.
Frederick said that he saw what Chatley did to Jordan firsthand, and he was afraid that if he didn't keep quiet, he would be next.
Frederick also says he's since learned why Chad wanted Jordan Key dead.
They had a disagreement and a problem that stemmed from some rap songs.
Both Jordan and Chatley were very talented local artists. Chatley was a part of Mr. Kane's Kane Music Mafia. Jordan was a part of a different group. And their beef started really over rap lyrics, and it just spun out of control.
They did have some type of rift between the two parties because some music had been taken away from the party that Jordan was with. So they were in a disagreement about that. But we didn't think it was anything that was of a major concern, that it would lead to Jordan's death.
The motive is the last piece of the puzzle.
After speaking with Frederick, detectives finally believe that they have a clear picture of what happened that night.
Essence and Chad were both charged with second-degree murder.
Police also charged Frederick Gaines with accessory to murder.
Since Frederick agreed to cooperate with investigators and testify against Chatley, his charges are eventually dropped.
Investigators are hoping the same type of deal works on Essence.
She could get her charges reduced if she pled guilty and testified against her man.
Their biggest priority at this point is getting a guilty verdict for Chatley, since he was the mastermind and the triggerman.
But prosecutors never could have imagined just how dedicated Essence really was to Chatley, Chad the Youngin' Chesterfield.
She felt like Chatley was her ride or die.
I think she would have felt that she betrayed Chad.
Moving forward through this journey of losing a child is very painful. Every day is not sunshine, roses, happy, but every day is not dark either. There are a lot of dark days, but we do have a time where we can embrace what God gives us, His love, His peace, His joy. And although this is a very, very negative situation, there is always hope in this journey. And I just want to encourage mothers to hang in there and take it one day at a time, one moment, 1 minute, 1 second at a time. And we will make it. We will make it.
Of 2012, police in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, have finally pieced together what happened in the tragic murder of 18-year-old aspiring rapper Jordan Key.
Investigators believe that a rival rapper, Chatley Chesterfield, who goes by the name of Chad the Youngin', targeted Jordan with the help of his girlfriend, Essence Dyson.
Chatley and Jordan apparently had beef over some stolen rap music.
With Chad Chesterfield identified as the shooter, the prosecution hopes Essence will agree to testify against him at trial.
The district attorney was willing to reduce the charges against Essence in return for information that would guarantee a guilty verdict against Chad, the person that actually pulled the trigger.
To everyone's surprise, Essence refuses to make a deal.
Essence Dyson stuck to her story. She said that she couldn't testify against Chatley because she had no information to give prosecutors.
I think she would have felt that she betrayed Chad. So Essence didn't want to testify.
She felt like Chatley was her ride or die. She refused to turn against him.
In November of 2015, Chatley Chesterfield and Essence Dyson go on trial in East Baton Rouge Parish.
The trial was very emotional. The courtroom was full every time we went. Not just with our family and friends, but his friends and family as well.
There was a lot of tension between the Chad and Essence friends and family side.
However, Essence and Chad aren't bothered by the tense mood in the courtroom.
Passing notes and talking and giggling and that sort of thing. Kind of like kids. I'm not sure if either of them understood the severity of what they were facing at that time.
She was smiling like nothing had ever happened.
I had to indicate to both of them that they had to be aware that the jury was always paying attention and looking, so they'd have to not be as playful or joyful, because this was a serious case.
Their apparent lack of remorse plays into the prosecution's argument.
Essence and Chadley were intentionally looking for Jordan Key to murder him in cold blood, and Essence did what she had to do to help her man. Ballistics confirmed that the weapon found in the abandoned vehicle matched the shell casings of the weapon used at the crime scene.
The evidence gathered from the getaway car proved that Chad Chesterfield was one of 2 men who fled the scene of the shooting.
There was DNA evidence on the handles of the car doors, on the murder weapon, and throughout the car.
But Essence Dyson was in her own car, and her attorney tells the jury that she had nothing to do with the shooting.
Our defense was that this was a chance meeting, and while Essence was present in the area, she didn't have any criminal culpability in any of this.
Her lawyers argue that even if she did let Chadley know where Jordan was, she never knew that he was going to kill him.
When the case goes to the jury, they side with the prosecution.
They find Essence guilty of second-degree murder.
She was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole.
Chadley is also found guilty of second-degree murder. But since he's underage, his sentence is decidedly less harsh than Essence's.
Chad, who was 17, could not receive a life sentence without parole.
He would be eligible for parole in 30 years.
Even though Essence was his accomplice, she could end up doing more time in prison than him simply because of their age differences.
While the sentences come as a relief to Jordan Key's family, they bring little comfort.
To me, they got what they deserved, but you're not gonna ever forget it. It's like, yeah, justice has been served, but what about the families that's left behind to grieve?
Not only have I lost my child, but he was robbed of the opportunity to show the world who he was, show the gifts that God had given him that was for the world to see.
One thing that I would want people to know about my grandson is that there was greatness on the inside of him, and it was taken away.
Essence Dyson will forever live with the consequences of the murder she helped her man commit.
I just wish that this could have been avoided. Maybe she could have gotten that degree in math and been working for NASA.
A person like her comes from a great background, the type of family she had, the type of future that she would have had. I think it's unfortunate that she had this level of loyalty for him because it ended up costing her her freedom.
To young women, please don't get yourself tied up with these guys that call themselves gangsters and, you know, this is kind of lifestyle with the fast money and the cars. That's not all it is to life. You know, you can do better with your life.